Hi, welcome to the Discount Dragon Art Tips and Techniques. And today I'm going to talk to you about vintage paper, specifically where to get some and how to make it stretch. Now, I have looked online and other places looking for blank vintage paper, and by vintage paper I mean stuff that is 100 years old or older. And there's really not a whole lot out there unless you want ledgers with lines, which I don't. I want completely blank paper, and it's in pretty short supply. And the further back you go, the more short supply there is. It's very difficult to find stuff really, really old that's completely blank. So one solution I found was to search around in sale bins until you find a old book that's got sufficient blank paper on the front or the back to make it worth buying and disassembling to make other products. Now this here is one that I'm working on, and this had several blank pages in it, and it's got a lot of material to work with. So far, these are the pages that are blank at least on one side. So those are ready to go for some sort of art project. Then you have got some of the other blank pages which I took, and I took the part of the original cover and some of the smaller pieces of blank paper from there, and I made myself a vintage blank book. So except for the glue, every piece of this is as old as the original book. Now the original book was 150 years old, and to me that is sufficiently old to have some coolness factor to it and to be fun to play with. Now here we have kind of grade B, which is pages that have at least a good chunk of blank space on one side. And those can be used for projects. You can either use them as small pages, just chop them off, and draw or paint or what have you on there. Or you can take them and do this, which is a good way to stretch things out. I took several pages and glued them together into what looks like one page that's been damaged. Of course, you can do this in a lot of different styles and techniques. This one is going to be mounted like this. I can do some art on here. And then I'm going to frame it in a nice vintage looking frame. And we'll end up with something like that. Now, a quick word on what books to pick. First of all, I would not bother with books that do not have some blank pages. The more the better, of course. Also, just personally, I would not disassemble books that seem like they have real value, either culturally, historically, or what have you. If you get something, there's tons of copies of it out there, and nobody really cares, then feel free, take it apart. But if you have something that you think might be more valuable to a number of people as a book, look into it a little bit. Make sure that you're not disassembling something that has real inherent value. I mean, I don't mean monetary value. I mean just for being what it is. Personally, this is something that there's tons of copies out there, and it's not going to vanish into the mist of history. So I didn't feel bad about taking it apart. I'm going to have a lot more fun with it than anybody would just sticking on a shelf as a trophy of old books. So this is how to get vintage paper. I found a number of books 100 years old. This one is one of the oldest at 150 years old. And it's just kind of a fun thing to do. So go out there bargain hunting and have fun.